the late Dora Gertrude Quay, and Seth Ahimfo. That she has a better name now. She went to just like you. So all of you can reminisce with this. I just want you to know that we're talking about regular people. So her school was Tema Parents Association School. And from there, she went to a school like yours. But school. In 1976, she went to Form 1. How many of you are in Form 1? Oh, yeah. The only SS3 book came. Yes, so they are seniors. So she spent time in schools like you, and so she's a regular person. I just want to know that we are talking about a regular person. So we are talking about a regular person. So you can also get to this point. But to sum up, she did her O-level at the Brig Girls in 81 and did her A-levels in 1983. These days, you people don't do O and A-level. You do something called WASI. Then she went to Legon University of and got a BSc in Home Science in 1987. She worked in many places for some time and got the opportunity to go and study medical anthropology at the Brunel University in the UK. Brunel University is in West London. So she got an MSc in 1995 and a PhD in the year 2000 from the Swiss Tropical Institute, at that time now Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute in Basel. Beyond that, she is undertaking several short courses to improve upon her CV. So this is the formal education bit. And she worked as far as Navrongo in 1991 on the vitamin A supplementation trials as a field supervisor. So that is her over there, if you couldn't make her out. So in Navrongo, then she started working on the survival study of the Navrongo Health Research Center. She then worked on the bed net trials in Navrongo and many other trials that took place in Navrongo. In the year 2000, she managed to defend her PhD thesis. So you can see people who defend their PhD thesis are usually very slim. Because there is a lot of pressure on you. I can see Grace smiling because she can relate to that. Then she gets into her career development, working in various research centers throughout to the Dodua Health Research Center, where she did quite a lot of work. And then she began to grow in her work and got noticed and invited to many places to lead many initiatives. So she did some field work in Pram Pram, and from Pram Pram, you get noticed, and then you appear in Geneva and in Liverpool and many other places, even sometimes representing the World Health Organization on implementation research, because at a point in time, she helped to write a manual for the World Health Organization on implementation research. So anytime they had to go somewhere to speak on implementation research, they went with her. So from the corners of Accra to Navrongo to Dodoa, you get into the light and people begin to recognize what sort of person you are. One of the big things that she did was her work on the deployment of rectal artesunate. Many of you would not know, but artesunate is one of the medications that we use for treating malaria. And there is what we call a suppository. When the child is convulsing and has fever, what you do in order to get the child to recover very quickly is to put the suppository through the rectal area. And it helps to get the child recover very, very quickly because the artesunate is absorbed into the bloodstream very quickly. She was one of the key people who helped to get this done. And once you do these things, then you get noticed and you win many more grants, and you are called to help to do many things along the line. So the place that she studied, which is the Swiss Tropical Institute, then invited her to become an external reviewer of the work of the Swiss Tropical Institute, and then to become one of the board members of the Swiss Tropical Institute. To cut a long story short, she ended up at the Institute of Health Research, initially as the director of the Implementation Research Center, and then 3 years ago as the director of the whole institute. So this, in short, has been her pathway as far as it's concerned. She has been recognized severally. GE, which is General Electric, 3 years ago identified global heroines in health, 12 women who have made an impact globally, and she was one of the 12 across the world. And these things have a cascading effect. Once you are noticed, everybody wants to be associated with good things. So TDR, is the WHO research wing, did a special issue on her, talking about how she has impacted health work in the world as a whole. Fast forward, last year, the European Developing Countries Clinical Trials Partnership identified her and honored her as the Female Scientist of the Year. And there was a prize money of 20,000 euro. And I was just doing some calculations today at the 8,500. It comes up to 170,000 Ghana cedis. So 170,000 Ghana cedis. The registrar wants some. The registrar has told you the ground to all this. So that is the reason why she's being honored by the University Council. Again, to let you know that she is a regular person. She worships, she goes regularly, teaches at Sunday school, and she is a regular person. So just to let you know that you don't have to be somebody special. It can be part of life. So my joint church is where she worshipped regularly until she came to Whole Reese Presby, where she participates in a lot of activities. Then she met a certain fine gentleman some time ago. And the fine gentleman has worked with her for the last 32 years. So Since then, she never walks alone. So if you don't belong to Liverpool, I don't know where else you are in this world. And she has been blessed with 3 adult girls. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is Professor Margaret Gyapong who we are celebrating today for her work and her contribution to society and humanity. And as part of this process, we have identified a very special person to come and give the Maiden lecture. And this person is no other person than Professor Esi Ewua. And she is going to be talking to us on harnessing the potential of today's girl child for the future. Professor Esi Ewua is a professor of environmental health sanitation. You have the brochure, there's a summary of her profile in the middle. So I'm just picking some highlights for you. She's been a serial entrepreneur in a way that she's been engaging almost everybody to get into environmental health sanitation. And she has won many awards in that field. Just like Margaret, she also started in humble environments. I'm sure you can make her out. She's the one on the left. Went to Odan Secondary School in Achimda. And proceeded to Abri Girls Senior High School for a 6th form. Can you make it out? Who said yes, who said no? So that is your assignment. Make it out. I'll give you 1 minute to make it out. How many of you are? Pardon? Anyway, so her formal education. She did her O-level in 1973 at Odan, in 1973. In 1973, I was in secondary school, Form 1. And then she did her A-level in 1975 and did her BSc in Biological Sciences at KNUST in 1979. So I went to KNUST as a medical student in 1980. So she finished her bachelor's degree before I went to level 100. And then she did environmental science at the College of Environmental Science and Forestry at the State University of New York in 1985. And then did a PhD in water treatment at the UNESCO Institute in the Netherlands in 2006. University. Can you make it out? This one is very easy. Okay. 1979 when she graduated from KNUST. This is Professor Esi Ewua. And then she grabbed somebody on campus. Again, I'm telling you this story. Sometimes the impression is given that female scientists are in some cloud of their own and they are not human beings, and they, if you get married, they say if you learn to get a man to marry you. Haven't you heard that? I'm telling you that that is false. Because If you really want to get married, you can get married, whether female scientists or so her academic career, she started as a lecturer. She got promoted to become a senior lecturer and then an associate professor before becoming a professor, all at KNUST. I want you to know, when you hear some of these titles, you don't take them for granted. You are a lecturer before you become a senior lecturer. And if you fulfill all righteousness, you become an associate professor. It means you are associating with the professors before you become a professor. And in KNUST, this will take you a minimum 12 years. That is if you check all the boxes. You have to spend 3 years at a certain point, another 3 years somewhere, another 4 years somewhere, minimum. So it's not just the years, but the work that you do with it. She became head of department. She even became the dean of the engineering school in KNUST. And then, more importantly, she became the foundation vice chancellor of the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Being a vice chancellor is challenging enough, but to be the foundation vice chancellor, it means you are going to build the university. That is what I want you to get. So she is the one who established the University of Energy and Natural Resources. So we are not talking of a small woman. But to do that, you go through many channels. Sometimes you even serve as a rapporteur in a meeting. People are talking and you are writing, you are taking the notes. You start from somewhere. And then when you hit the limelight, you begin to get the recognition and the awards. So Professor Isiwa was appointed the Foundation Vice Chancellor of the University of Energy and Natural Resources in the year 2012. A position she held for 4 years. She led the university to achieve many awards. But on her personal note, as I indicated to you, she has been a serial recipient of various awards in the area of environmental health and sanitation. But I believe to her and to many people, the biggest award was the Order of the Star of Volta, which is an award, a national award conferred by the President of the Republic on outstanding people in the country. So these are not very small events, and they should not be taken lightly. Having said that, Professor Isiwa, even now that she has retired, continues to supervise her PhD students and check their work very meticulously. So, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Isiwa will be speaking to us on the subject, harnessing the potential of today's girl child for the future. I present to you Professor Isiwa. One thing I would add is Professor Isiwa is very musical. And she composed the UHAS anthem. So just for the records, for the face, you sing, "You has arise and shine." This is the person behind it. Professor Ewa says she wants to have a chat with you, especially the young ones. And for that reason, she says she doesn't want to use any PowerPoint slides like some of us do. Some of us without PowerPoint, we cannot. But she says she wants to talk to you and engage you for the next 30 to 45 minutes. And then you can ask as many questions as possible so that we'll take it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor A.C. Ewa.
What a delight. Thank you very, very much, Prof. Gyapong, for this beautiful introduction. When you were asking me to bring my pictures, I was wondering what you wanted those pictures for. If I knew this, I would have given you more. But thank you for what you were able to do with the little. The heavens declare the glory of God. Day by day, they pour out speeches, and night, what is man that you are mindful of him? You have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have given him dominion over your creation. O Lord our God, how excellent is your name in all the earth. If I were to count the things that you have made, it will be amazing. Lord, we thank you for today. And we bless you because you have made us in your image. And you will make us rise. You will make us shine. And you will make us productive. I'm now going to stand on all the protocols. Everybody in God's eyes is very, very important. And I want to congratulate my sister, Margaret. Margaret is way my junior at Ibri Girls. When I went to do my sixth form, we were all in the same dormitory, Edinburgh. Bipo Suhain, thank you very much. Today, we are going to look at a topic, harnessing the potential of today's girl child for tomorrow. Woman is a very kind woman. The husband, he is very, very fortunate. I don't like the fact that he said he changed his name for a better one. She is called a Dazuwa. She's a strong woman. Dazupa, you know. Beside every successful man is a woman. And Margaret, thank you very much for what you have done. I'm going to who a girl child is, how to harness her potential, and what the future holds for the girl child. If you look at the girl child, there are a lot of definitions, but I asked my students, girl child is, they said that biologically, everybody who has 2 X chromosomes is a woman or is a female. That person menstruates. He has breast, he has V, he has a womb, and she can deliver. Please have this in your mind. The definition that the girl to be protected. The girl child starts from the day she's conceived until she's about 18. In China, I think about 35 years ago, there was a policy of one child, one couple. And because men were looked on more favorably than girls, they aborted their girls. And instead, they had men. What do you think will happen? We'll talk about that later. In India, where if you marry an Indian lady, the lady has to pay the dowry. And it's usually very expensive. We are fortunate, too. If you want to marry me, you have to bring something to my parents. So, all these things are happening. Even in Ghana, in some cultures, one of my neighbors had 2 girls. And the man said, "What are girls for?" So he divorced the wife and married somebody. I don't think he had a son. It was always women. Because he is the one to give the X chromosome. And he's not giving it, and he's blaming the woman. So now you see, when it was time to get married, the Chinese men were not getting wives. I'm not surprised that they are moving away everywhere. I'm sure they are looking for some Ghanaian women. That's why we are seeing Chinese children in our... Sometimes it's decisions by parents. My grandfather thought that my mother was so beautiful and very, very intelligent. And therefore, I am a hindrance for her progress. And took me to Kolebu, her to Kolebu, to be aborted. What a sad mistake. You know, you wouldn't have any anthem to sing. And there would have been nobody to establish Yume, which I saw as my call. So the girl child is very important. I want to encourage young girls here that if you are pregnant, don't abort it. You bring the child to me. I'll take care of the child. Don't mind anybody, because you will grow to become, the child can grow to become the pillar of the house. My father was a student, and my mother was a student. Later on, my father became the deputy conservator of forest in Ghana. So you can imagine. Later on, when I met him, he denied me. But when I met him, he treated me like a princess. I tell you, nobody has ever enjoyed life like me. So when I meet the students who come to the university, they don't know how to handle themselves. You should see them. For me, when I was going to Ebri Girls, for example, my father would drive me in a 280 Super. So at the airport, we had airport, planes were flying in those days. And then the car would drop me at Accra, and my uncle was the deputy director of Gyapong. So he will also bring a Mercedes-Benz, and then they take me in to Ebri Girls. I was treated like, I had people who could serve me. When I went on holidays, there was a cook steward by me. And then once we traveled by the head of state coach, I don't think President Akufo-Addo has even sat in the head of state coach, but I have sat in it. So we went round. What a delight. But if they had thrown me away, he became somebody so big. And my mother also became somebody so big, and she helped my education. Now the girl child, because she's so special, she has challenges. Even in infancy, she looks so beautiful and pretty. A colleague of mine wrote a book, and I stopped the publication. The things I saw made me so sad. And I said, this book, later we'll bring it out. Men were raping children. 5 years. I mean, and then even young girls who are going to primary school, the friends who are supposed to take the children to school, they will go and have whatever they want to do with these children. And she actually interviewed them. Look, if I were to ask the girls here, how many have been sexually abused? You'll be amazed. They are always shy, very shy. I have met big women in this country who have confided in me and told me what men have done to them. The girl child is so precious, but because of her reproductive role too, she is also very, very vulnerable. She's not strong physically, but if you do exercise, you can beat the men. So the girl child must be protected in that she doesn't know many things and she has to learn. And the parents are responsible for her training. One thing that I want the girl child to know is that she must have menstruation. If you don't menstruate, amenorrhea, you are sick. You are not a woman, because you have several hundreds of thousands of eggs in you, and you share them as you grow. Now girls are menstruating at a very tender age. I had my menses when I was about 15. These days, the studies we did in one of the schools, as early as 9, 10. So the girls need to be very, very careful, because you can conceive at that point in time. That girl notwithstanding, I want to say that menstruation is a very good thing to have. And you'll be surprised. I was surprised myself when I read that the menstrual blood is the best source of stem cells. Those who are doing medicine will testify to that. I don't want to add the others, because some people are very bad. They can collect the stem cells from women menstrual period. But you see, because of all these, the girl child faces a lot of challenges. One, she is looked down upon because of her menstrual cycle. In some cultures, they are put in kraals. Kraals are places where they keep animals. So such a warrior is having her menses. Is that where to put her? And they don't allow them to go to certain places. These are cultural things which are no good for the girl child. She goes to school, and the schools don't even have toilets. If you are bleeding and your sanitary pad is wet, where do you go and change it? You guys are very fortunate. We went to school in villages, so I know what I'm talking about. But my house was so close to the school, so I will run to the house, go and change, and come back. But what about those who didn't have their homes nearby? So some will not even come to school at all. Some also have dysmenorrhea, very painful times. It is a time to protect her and let her understand her role in society. She is the mother of tomorrow, and she must be protected. The girl child is so important. We have seen that in this whole world, we have about 1.1 million girl children. Allow me to use this. And this is an opportunity for us to harness their potentials and make them useful to society. The girl child not only has these menstrual things as her problem, she's the one who will go and fetch water. My grandfather never woke the boys in the house up to go and fetch water in the middle of the night, when that was the only time the Akim order water runs, in the middle of the 1 a.m. You have to go and fetch the water, and then in the morning you have to go to school. The house chores are done by the girls. We do everything, but the men don't do anything. I'm employing a certain boy to help me, and when I asked that he should go and sweep the rooms and lay the beds for guests who will come and go and throw the garbage away, I was told the mother is no more. The mother said, Beninizi, a man, a male doesn't do all these things. So he doesn't know how to do those things. He's finding it so difficult because he's treated special as a man, as a male. Now, the child also helps in going to markets and stuff. If there are two people, it is the girl who will go, the boy will stay idle. I have warned my sons already that the girls of today are not like the girls of yesterday. The girls of today, they are looking at me. They are also in school. They are studying. They are undergoing the same things you are also studying and going through. So we have to share the housework. Are the men happy about this? I really hope so. So, this means that the girl child also must be protected. In the night, when in some cultures the toilets are far away, they have to walk. And they are very shy people. Even when we travel, many years ago, there were no toilets by the roadside. You have to go and do it in the bush. So when the public transport stops, you have to go and hide in the bush. The men, they will stand by anything and do anything and go away. So the girl child really suffers. Another thing in my research that I found was that even the toilets we have provided, it is narrow to the man's buttocks and not the woman. Some of us, we have big hips. And look at what they give us. So when you sit on it, you are not very comfortable. I just ended a workshop and we asked the women present, and these were some of the things they gave us. These are people from about 7 countries, Mali, Uganda, Tanzania, and we asked them to go around and look at our toilet facilities and send us their comments. And they also noticed that there are no water hoses near the toilets. So even if you want to clean yourself, you are in your menses, and then you've seen that you've soiled yourself. There is no hose, and the hole is so narrow. So the design of the toilet seat is wrong. Even for those who squat, it is so narrow. It has been designed by men. They did not consider the girl child. But now, tell me, what potential has the girl child? I think that Margaret is a very good example. Look, it doesn't matter how you started. He didn't do any medicine. Some people, they do some subjects and they become so attached. They don't look at anything. They don't look at the welfare of people. Sometimes people wonder how a biologist go into engineering. Some of the men, they find it so difficult when I went into engineering. And it was there that I even didn't want to go. But But it was there that I saw the importance of biological sciences in engineering. You will need biologists to look at the water you are supplying to the people, to look at the quality. You need microorganisms which degrade the wastewater. My PhD thesis was on the pathogen removal mechanisms in wastewater treatment plants. So you can do anything you want if you are really determined. The girl child has a lot of potential. She is very wise. So the girl child should not think that he has to depend on a man for existence. Please, men, you are very important. But I want to tell the girl child that you can make it. My son, one of my sons told me, he met a woman, she's 47. The woman is saying, this man, he doesn't even take good care of me, this and that. And he said, you are, what, 47? My mother is over 60, 65, and she was making kenke barak. You know kenke barak? Margaret knows. When I retired as a VC, I looked at the kenke people were eating. I saw that it had a lot of aflatoxins because the color was dark, and I didn't want it. So I said, Ghanaians must eat their local food. I saw students eating indomie all the time, this fried rice. So I asked myself, what kind of nutrition are these people taking into their bodies? In future, it will have an effect. So I am going to introduce special kenke called kenke barak. I named it kenke barak because barak means blessing. And I had a logo. I said, eat local, stay healthy, and live long. I'm sure that the maize was clean. Kenke barak was such a delight. But I didn't know that it involves a lot of hard work. Making the kenke was very difficult. I also noticed that my hands have special microorganisms. Everybody has it. So when I mix the kenke, it tastes better than when I give it to somebody. And then my husband, he wasn't happy. Said, you've been a vice chancellor. What is this kenke barak that you want to do? So he didn't even want to come to the luncheon. I didn't mind him at all. So I launched kenke barak at the Faculty of Agric. And then I made a chemical engineering student come to talk about it, how to preserve maize to prevent it from getting moldy. And the effect of eating contaminated maize with aflatoxins. So, have you seen what I have said? The woman wants a man to take care of her. But how can we develop half of our brains? We cannot rely on them. They are waiting for the men to take the decisions. You can take a decision and plan for your life. Now, the girl child is also strong in that mentally she's strong. There are girls who have come to KNUST and have had first class in mathematics. We have some in physics. Everywhere now we have girls doing engineering, biomedical engineering, computer engineering, you name it, all the disciplines, you can find the girl child also working there. And the girl child can do carpentry. He can do masonry work. I started with my grandfather, and I fixed all the drying lines. I know how to mix concrete and develop, actually even lay some blocks. You need to work with your hands. This is what I saw, that because society has demarcated what the girl child can do, she is always in the kitchen, trying to cook, washing clothes, taking care of babies. But you can even be a mechanic. I've met a mechanic who is a Nigerian, and she has opened a big mechanical shop. And she's very, very honest and dedicated. You see, women have that too. They have a sense of integrity. Anyway, not all. But most of the time, it is the men who do that. That this part is missing, meanwhile the part is there. And because the woman doesn't know, he accepts. So as a girl child, you can do everything. I can sew. I can also play the organ. I can also play the guitar. And I never wasted time. The girl child, if you develop yourself, you can do so many things. You can braid hair. You can do many things and never lack anything. Some people think that when they go to the university, they shouldn't do anything apart from books and books and books. Books working with your hands doesn't mean anything. I have seen that throughout my career, women and girls who work with their hands, they become more successful than those who are constantly in books. The girl child has equal potential as the male, and sometimes even more. Because of our nature, we can do many, many, many things that men cannot do. Now, I want to look at the girl child and what faces her in their future. Now we are seeing the girl child going to school and then learning, and then also parents are now allowing them to study. But what does the future hold? The future we are seeing is so uncertain, and we cannot predict what will happen tomorrow. But still you have to plan. In the future, we will run out of resources. Already, we will run out of food. Material things like metals, we run out of them. And even wood, that is a renewable resource. And the minerals that we are mining, we will run out of them. And therefore, we need to plan sustainably on how to conserve these resources for sustainability. And therefore, women, because we are the custodians of natural resources, we should begin to look at disciplines in this area. And I will mention materials engineering and also nanotechnology. It is important because we must begin to use materials at the nano level. You see the laptop I am holding. When computers came, they were big rooms, and then we had our desktops. Now we have iPads and then, what do you call this one? What do you call this? Laptops. Now, this my phone, it has all the lectures I have, all my questions. I can do PowerPoint with it. Everything is in our hand. We are beginning to use small amounts of resources to achieve the same thing. And that is when we move into the nanotechnology era, where we are developing products at the molecular and atomic level. At that level, we will have more beautiful clothes. The clothes you are wearing in the future is going to look more beautiful than what you are wearing. And you can judge this from even the kente cloth. Kente that are coming out are more refined. This is because we are developing. In future, the girl child will have to work outside the home. Therefore, must have skills. The man alone cannot support the family. So the girl child must have in mind that I am going to support my family. The girl child must also do something to support the house and not the man. I'm glad that I did not marry somebody. Maybe he's hearing me. He was rich, he had everything, and then he said, oh, if you marry me, I have a house, I have a car. You are being deceived. And I was advised, marry somebody you can start your life with, and you can plan your life with. In that case, he doesn't become your Lord and master, but he becomes your colleague that you can plan your life with. In the future, we will also have problems of strife, cyber crimes, like if you don't know how to develop a program or an app, you must have a form of artificial intelligence. Otherwise, you'll be left behind in the scheme of things. Now, I have recorded something. I can't send it to the people who need it because the file is too big. I have no idea. IT people, are you there? You should help me. Sometimes, your own child, if you don't study, will be recording everything you are doing through Bluetooth. My sister in the US told me that his son, who is an IT expert, can hijack her phone. And meanwhile, as a parent, you are supposed to control what he watches, but he knows more than you. The girl child has a lot of challenges that he needs to face. And digital training will be very, very vital everywhere, including the field of medicine. Now we are having biomedical engineering, and I'm praying that UHAS will use that as a route to introduce engineering in UHAS. This is because now engineers are producing synthetic kidneys, synthetic lungs, synthetic hearts. And the doctors are now using very sophisticated equipment. And some of the doctors, they don't know, is they're writing as usual. I wanted to introduce a program like that at UNE to train doctors and nurses on how to use these modern equipments and to develop them and write programs for them. The next VC is not here. This man is leaving in 6 days. The dean of medical school is here and he's listening to me. He has to take an action and to look at this so that the nurses will understand the equipment they are holding. We have to develop them. If we are unable to design and build them, it will be difficult for us. I had a cousin who was very sick, and she's not as educated as I am. And then in a dream, she went to heaven. And she was telling me, because I had sat in an ambulance, and the things in America, the things I saw, the paramedical staff who came, they had small computers by their side. And then they touched the sick person. All the details came on the screen they were holding. They look at it and quickly did something. And I sat in the ambulance. It was so beautiful, the inside. I haven't been to the inside of Ghana's ambulance. So I can't say much about the ambulances that we are having. And so she was telling me, he said, oh, all these things you are seeing, it's already in heaven. And she told me how in a dream they took her to a place. And he said, you are screened. And when you are screened, everything goes to the doctor's table. And then she said, there are different treatments for it. Herbal, you are doing it to physical, diet, exercise. Okay, some of the sicknesses, you have to change your diet. My foot was hurting. I told a colleague doctor, he said, you are eating too much protein. I stopped 1 week and the pain was gone. I wouldn't like to take any medication. When he told me that, he said I should go to the hospital. I said I won't go. If it is too much protein, I will stop eating meat and fish for 1 week. And the pain left. So she said she was treated. And then what surprised me was, she said her hair was washed. And then they did jelly curls in heaven for her. And the following day she was fine. And then I said, oh God, I am a man who is highly educated. You should have shown this to me, and I would have seen it better. But then I looked at our hospitals. They don't have salons. So if you are sick, you may have to cut your hair and you have to stay in the hospital for weeks. You must ensure that there are salons in the hospitals we have, because this one, it was seen in heaven. So, the girl child has a lot of opportunities, and we have to harness her wisdom. I was in China about 3 years ago, and one of the speakers came and said they had to encourage the women to study and to be part of society. And that is why China has developed, giving everybody the opportunity to develop. The other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that because cybercrime is going to increase, you must be alert all the time. Look, we can fight in space if we know cybernetics. We can stop many things that are coming to us directly because we understand cybernetics. And it is important that every student undergo this training. And then every student take a course in critical and analytical thinking. Now, we have to harness the girl's child potential to face the future. I've mentioned a few things, but the first thing is to teach the child how to read and write. For me, my children, at age 3, you should be able to read. So they love reading. So one is a lawyer, and one is a mechanical engineer. They love to read. Instead of WhatsApp, oh, these are your challenges. WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. The girl child is meant to go and stand, and I see some of their status, they're running around like this. What do they want to show? Later on, I learned that they were buying artificial bottles. Somebody showed me, what is wrong with you? You should have a vision. So, train her how to read and write. And she'll become the woman you want her to be. My mother taught me how to read and write. And she also taught me how to type. Those days, if you are not too good, then they will take you to typing school. But she had done secretarial science, so she taught me how to type. So in America, I was typing the thesis of my husband's friends. And that was a source of income. So whatever you know as a mother, you have to teach your child. Don't let her rest in the room whilst you are working, and treat her like a princess. She will never grow up becoming a princess. She will become a burden, and they will bring the daughter back to you as a mother. Apart from reading, you must teach her how to do housework. We are talking about house chores and all, but it is important. Every morning, train the child to make her bed. That make your bed. And make sure that he is also responsible for something in the house. He could be very young, but give her a responsibility. We were not that fortunate. I stayed with my grandparents. My grandmother was a fishmonger. Every evening when my aunts bring fish from the coast, we have to smoke them, and then early in the morning, I have to take them to the market before I come back to take my shower and then go to school. And I was fortunate. There were no watches. The train was my watch. At 7:30, the train from Kebe will be passing by. So as soon as I hear the horn, it is time. Now you have watches, you have time on your phone. Then train the girl child also to love and to give. If Madame Gertrude Quay had not taught Margaret, you won't benefit from this. Train her to love and respect everybody. Everybody is important. Some people are not more important than others. Don't look at the color. Don't look at the family background. Don't look at the monies they have and the cars they have. No. You have to plan and have a vision, and that is how to harness the girl's child potential. Most importantly, show him God. You see that I said the heavens. You look at the heavens and you think that the world doesn't have an owner. It has. They declare the glory of God. And the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. When I look at these majestic mountains, so attractive, who made them? What is happening in the astronosphere of the earth crust? God made them all. And once you have that, for me, my mother taught me that. So I was never afraid of anything. I was not afraid of men. I was not afraid of women, because I have a big God already on my side. And then harness the potential by teaching the child music. See, you might think that because I'm a musician, but the benefits that I get from the music is amazing. Everything is singing. All the planets, they are singing. Even trees are singing. My husband is a plant pathologist, and he told me about how plants cry when they are sick. You see, you didn't know about this. And they also produce certain chemicals. I'm happy that you have preserved the trees. They are singing to the glory of God. So I can imagine when you cut a tree, what they do. I'm sure they'll be shouting, AJ, 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 mankind, I am here to protect you. Look at what you are doing to me. Please, don't cut a tree until you know its functionality. We are losing our forest, and this is very, very sad. The other thing you have to teach the child again, as is in music, sing in your heart. Music heals. Remember, there was a man in the Bible called Saul, and anytime he sing, David will come and play music. This is part of medicine. I'm sure the dean knows about it. Are you doing that? Medical musicology. If you have not introduced it, you better do that. And I'll come for the graduation of the first people batch. It is so important. I have experienced it several times. Once I was so weak and I sat by the organ, and as I was playing a Presbyterian song which says that in you do I gain my strength, I walk with you. All of a sudden, this strength came upon me and I revived. What musical instrument can you play? If you go to the developed world, you see mothers taking their children to places where they can learn how to play a violin, a guitar, euphonium, trumpet, and the organ. But for us, every day, book. Every day, book. The child doesn't know anything. Do you have a swimming pool here? Not yet. Oh, I pray that you get one. Teach them how to swim. It will save their lives one day. So you are preparing the girl child. You are harnessing her potential in all reality. And then teach her about menstrual hygiene. Tell her why she menstruates. If they understand, they won't give you any problem. Teach the girl child how to have a vision. I learned how to study and be successful in school by planning. I have a personal timetable, spiritual, physical, and academically. And I still do it. I have a timetable, and then I spend my more time on my weak subjects. Somebody, history is her best subject. Maths she doesn't do, but you will not look at maths. Always history, always history. He gets A in history, and math, he gets F. Don't do that. Plan and make sure that you are doing what you are supposed to do to make you a good woman of the future. And then I have my house, my physical activity, I think that I do at home. I have to wake up, I have to sleep, I have to do this. You are going to be a mother. And if you cannot plan, who will take care of your children? Who? You have to plan. These are your challenges in the future. And you have to do it. How you will take your kids to school, and how you will take good care of them. It's all on my timetable. And then I have a future. I told myself that I was born out of a wedlock. If a man does not take me to the altar, have a wedding, I won't have a child. I will stay until I am taken to the altar. We also interview some girls before their marriage. Hey, these days, I'm even afraid to mention the number. Some people interviewed a lady who wanted to marry a friend of their friend. He's had several sexual partners. Hey, this girl, she's about 25. And I said, hey, during our time, even one is a problem. Oh, man. But the men too, they are not too different. So, as a girl, tell yourself, I used to insult some men who approached me. You saw how beautiful I was when I was very young. I was so beautiful. Then if you call me, and I could speak English, so thanks my mother, I tell them, who are you? How dare you call me like that? Look, I am a woman of substance, and I have a vision. Please, I will not allow you to ruin my life like that. I am going to reach the highest peak. Then one day, I was sent in the night to go and buy something. And then one of the boys came to attack me. He held my neck Oh, thanks to the man who saw that and came to save me. He would have killed me because I told him my peace of mind. And not that, I also used some bad words at him. Who are you? Look at him. You're coming to call me. Are you my... They say there is equal. You are nowhere near me. I'm sure later on he became a Christian and he met me. I've forgiven him, but he felt so ashamed. Now, get to know that you have a vision. Plan your vision. I plan my vision every 5 years. It is only the Kenke Barak that I lost. Now, in the university, I planned the day I came, I planned the day of my exit. So, and then every year I knew so it wasn't a place that I said I was going to stay there. I was so happy when I finished and I was leaving. Some people thought that I was happy. I asked them, who told you? It is not a difficult thing. They are very happy that somebody is coming to take over. But see, the person who is coming, he doesn't know the challenges. So the person too is excited. It's God who has made us like that. Otherwise, if I knew what I was going to go through, I don't know whether I would have taken that. So, I want to just say that you have a lot of potential. We will harness. The government has a role to play to put up good schools, good educational policies, and then parents and society must also support the girl child. You have a future, and God will help you to accomplish what He has destined you to be. You has. Your blessings are in the song God gave me. You are great giants. You will arise and shine. People will hear from you like they did to Margaret, and then they will come and reward you. God bless the people of this land. God bless the people in this region and Ghana. And I decree and declare that your roads will be asphalted so that your shoes will not get destroyed. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you.
I think she a big round of applause. And so I was just thinking of preparing a broadsheet or opening a register of potential grandchildren of Professor Isiawa. If you are pregnant, don't worry, come and register with me. I will forward it to her. Insightful discussion. It's time to interact with Professor, and so we'll take a few questions or perhaps contributions. Perhaps my question would be, how do we get the franchise of Kenke Barak? Maybe we'll have an opening here in Ho where we'll do the Kenke Barak. And so if you have a few of those questions, we want to take questions and maybe contributions. If you have any. You can see a hand down there. Please just descend a little. We'll bring you the mic.
So, Professor Ofori. Prof, well done. I'm so proud of you. Just a question, or maybe I want you to comment on this. There's this saying that women are their own enemies. How will you comment on that?
Thank you, Prof. And thank you, Prof. Margaret Gyapong, for this program. My name is Margaret Ofori, and I went to Ola Girls. Ola Girls are in the house. Yes. Prof, having gone through secondary school education from a girls' school, I know that the girl child, during her prime age, as you discussed in your lectures, we experience a lot of sexual feelings. It's biological. And so those of us who went to girls' school are lucky. We go to school and there are no boys around to disturb us. But when you go back home, you receive a lot of letters. That was in our days. These days, I know we have mobile phones, there are pictures, WhatsApp, and all that. So in that state of confusion, at this era, what should a girl child do? That is my first question. I don't know whether I'm permitted to ask the second one. Secondly, you said that the woman should be ready to plan her life with a friend or someone who is also trying to make up his life. These days, the observation is that the girl child or the woman wants abin dada. They want men who are already having it all. And they even look down on men who are planning their life. But the mistake is that the woman or the girl child doesn't know the future of that man also. And at the end of the day, they realize that they should have waited to begin with this man. And so the girl child is stuck and thinks that I have made a mistake. What should the woman do in order to avoid such mistakes? Thank you.
Okay, please, thank you. Please, I want to ask that, what motivates you along the way? Sometimes there are life issues that could hit the girl child, and she might think she wants to give up. I want to ask what motivated you along the way. Thank you.
So we'll take one more and Prof will respond to them.
Thank you very much for the lecture. My question is, what exactly went into your 5-year plan as you were in school?
Okay, please permit me to sit down and answer this. This mentorship program will remove this sense of women are their own enemies. We are supposed to mentor you to love other women. What happens is that when the other woman is not rising and the other woman is up, then there is a problem. But if you have a vision and you are carrying out your plans, it will not happen. The mentorship program will stop this. We are all together as women, and mankind, see yourself as one. Mankind is looking up to us. We have to study hard. We have to work hard. You are lucky. I will sing a song at the end where we look at, we are women for the... It's everybody from Organization of Women in Science for the Developing World here. This is the anthem I composed for them. And they teach the young girls. that the world is looking at you. So, the other one is sexual development. I went to a men's school before a girls' school. For me, I topped the class, and then the teacher said the men were sitting there for me to top. So at one time, when I was studying, they came to hit my head with branches. That's why I went to a girls. But now they have stopped. Now, the sexual feelings are there. You are what you think. Oh, if you think and you watch things like that, you will have a desire. I told you that, I told that those boys who were following me that I am a woman of substance. These things, I wasn't bothered because my thinking was to make it in life. Look, I didn't plan 5 years when I was in school. I planned 20 to 30 years whilst I was in school. And the library was my friend. So I was reading about what was happening in other parts of the world, different professions. The things I wanted to do, you guys have no idea because I was reading. I had even planned marriage, even in secondary school. But so my prayer timetable, I pray for my future partner every day, which is a Tuesday, is for me, my future, and my children. And then I pray for my work. So I carried on this throughout my university. When I was in the university, I had bought my saucepans and frying pan already. But it's a vision, and you don't rush into it. So when I was in the SS as you are now, I wanted to go to the university. I said, I have to go to the university, and then I need exposure. I have to go abroad and continue my master's and do a PhD. Those days, we had something we call COMSO, come and see. So, whilst other people were moving around, having boyfriends, going to sleep with them, no, I wasn't doing that. I was studying GRE, Graduate Entrance Examination, because I wanted to go and do my master's. So the degree was there. I was thinking of where I should go. And you see, because I was thinking of marriage, I had admission to all the 3 universities those days, KVAS, Legon, and Tech. And I said, as for Tech, if I go there, I will meet a doctor. I will meet an architect. I will meet a pharmacist. I will meet an engineer. These others, what do they have? I won't go there. So you see, I had planned my life like that. And then the motivation that put me along, carried me on. I'm a very happy person. And I'm happy when people prosper. That was my motivation. I really love to sing. And I knew that in future, I would become a great person. I had that in mind. I wasn't thinking that small things. No. Even in the university, as soon as I got there, I said, I have to be a vice chancellor. I was the first female to apply to be a vice chancellor. I asked myself, what are they doing that I cannot do? Hey, are they here? So, that is what I said to myself. So right from the word go, I started writing and doing things. So I've done so many things. I said, what makes somebody a professor? Your service, the community, publications, research, the grants you have won. If you see my CV, I've won so many grants because I had in mind. And if you are starting life and you are in SHS, you are not planning of advancing your degree. No. Have a good motivation. I knew I'll be a great woman. And here I am. But my success, I give credit to God because I knew God when I was in class 5. Is it class 5? Class 3. Because I could read and understand. So I knew God was always with me, and he will direct your steps. If you have your Creator guiding you, you can never go wrong. And he will guide you. He guided me into making my plans. What do you want to be in future? That should be your motivation. And not to go and marry somebody and then you have children and every day you are frustrated. If you see another woman progressing, you are not happy. And then you become her enemy. No. We can all make it, everybody. So I think what the person say marriage, is he asking me? Marrying a young man. Oh yes, it is good. In fact, my husband has really helped me. He really helped me to write my first IFS grant because he had done it before. And he's my chief admirer. When I made my first album, she came to hug me and she was so happy that I've made my album. If I had married an elderly man who is rich already, what has he got to do with this? And we work together, we think together, we plan together. And I have colleagues, they marry some rich men who will be bringing their cars when we were students. When they met me, said, oh, AC, that's why you are so fortunate. I said, you, instead of marrying somebody of your type, your age, you went and married this rich man. Now, you see, when I go to conferences, my husband, he's not worried. He's not worried at all because he knows me. But the old man, my friend, he said, hey, you are going. I can't go. My husband is very suspicious because he is old and you are also young. So, please, marry somebody who can really help you. My 5-year plan, I think I said that when I was in school, I had planned to go to the university. So after the university, I had made plans also to go and continue my education and come back and help build my country. So those were my plans. But all along, I ran through my plans. And also building a house. Actually, in class 5, I had designed my own building, a 5-bedroom house. You are sitting here, you have no plans in your head to build a house. How can you build a house? But I'm glad I have built more than 3 houses, you see? Because it ran through my life that is what I want to do. Somebody was telling me, said, me, I don't want to be a lecturer. I said, why? He said, the highest ambition of the lecturer is to build a 3-bedroom house at Ajuso. And when he retires, he goes and stays at Ajuso. I said, oh, please, the lecturer can have other things and help society. He said, no, this one, I wouldn't. See, so he's even looking at us as lecturers that our vision is to have a 3-bedroom house at Ajuso. What an insult. That is the vision. We must have a better vision. And I am still dreaming. I'm 7, but I'm still dreaming and thinking about what to do. You have no idea. As for the Kenke Barak, it's not easy to make the Kenke Barak, I've told you. So I have everything. If you want the franchise, I will give it to you. But then I've seen a lawyer. Somebody has come to buy the franchise of Kenke Barak, and I'm working on it. I'm limiting the person to Kumasi. So when you come, I will limit you to this region whole, and every year you have to give me some money. for my franchise.
Okay, we'll take some more. Nobody asked on this end. Do we have a hand up? Okay, there's a hand up here.
Good afternoon, one again. I am Yvonne Odonko. Sometimes the resources are not there to help the girl child. So what are the other ways that can help us to attain our own vision? Okay, I am a student of UHAS, also trying to help myself in this handmade stuffs. But sometimes going to the people to tell them, you do this kind of stuff, they'll see you and they'll think that you are not well right for this work. So with my question, I want to ask, if maybe you don't have any other resources, what are the other things that you do to attain your vision? Thank you very much.
Okay. Madam Registrar, want to ask.
Auntie Osi, congratulations again. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. And thank you for a wonderful delivery. So as the young lady was asking the question, what else to do when you don't have the resources to forge ahead, I thought I should share and maybe comment on some of the things you said. You see, secondary school life can be very difficult. In our time, if you didn't have the right parentage support and all that, it was difficult. I didn't enjoy my secondary school days. In fact, I don't remember a lot of things because I just blocked it out. We were the poorest, and some of our teachers even took advantage and kind of, in my school at the time, if we're not a certain class, nobody really paid attention to you. So all these things made you have a certain concept that life was going to be a struggle. If you are not careful, you tend to give up. So the other things to do, if you are not in that class, and if you think you are not going to be able to make it, is to make yourself indispensable. What I mean is that you do well and you are best at what you do. Nobody can ignore you. If you study very hard, you are good in your subjects, or you join a debating club, or you make yourself available and not noticeable in a wrong way, but doing things that other people may not ordinarily be able to do. So in my school at the time, I was a barber. It's not these days that Ola has a barbering shop now underground somewhere. They go and cut their hair. So we were the female barbers in the dorms. Everybody will come and call. If I barber your hair, you give me 1 tin of sardine. If I barber your hair, you give me 1 tin of mackerel. And that is how, so people knew you, that you could do other things, and you endeared yourself to them. And so that feeling of, I can't make it because I don't have, was never really there until we completed and we got into other things. So I think that sometimes you need to just make the effort to see the positive and brighter side of things and not dwell on, I don't have the resources and I know it can be difficult, but with a little determination and zeal, it is easy to do. We all envisaged, I always dreamed that I was sitting in a big office in a very big chair. And it came to pass. So it is possible. No matter the background, no matter the circumstances, it is possible. Thank you.
I guess that should be it for the questions.
You see that what she said is very right. Life is not a bed of roses. If you don't know, when I was in primary school and I didn't have anything to do, I became a head porter. I would go and carry the fish of the market women who were going to Aprade at the train station. And then they would give me some money. I would go and fetch firewood. And I will get money. But if you don't want to humble yourself and do things like that, it will be problematic. In fact, when I returned from the US, I came along with my boys. And you should see, some diplomat has bought me nice prams. And I was selling ice water at Tate Junction because the salary was not enough. 1 week, it is gone. And my husband too was not around. At that time too, I made kinky and so. At that time too. So you see, you have to change your attitude. What is wrong if you become a head porter? These days when I go to a Joso market, girls in SS, they are head porters. They carry things and then they take money. When I see them like that, I give them more money. And then you see, if you study here, I got a full scholarship to secondary school. My scholarship was so much that when I completed Odan school, my mother had to go for the balance because it covered everything. But you saw how I was studious. I didn't play with my studies.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Because it's coming from Malco, I'm tempted to accept some more questions. So one question from Malco. Did you have one from Ola? Oh. If you hadn't raised your hand, I'm sure the registrar will tell you something.
Good afternoon.
So we'll take two from there.
Please, I want to ask what it takes a girl to build a foundation, as in a club, which aims at educating girls to build on their potential. What would it take the girl to do that? Thank you very much for creating this platform to educate the girl child. We are very grateful. My question is, what are the factors you have to consider when planning your future? Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Maud. Please, I want to ask what inspired you to become a lecturer? Because some of us, we normally change our career. For example, for me, when I was in JHS, I was inspired by a 22-year-old female who wanted to become a pilot. And now I'm in SHS, I want to be an architect. So I want to ask how you stick to one career. Thank you.
Another one. So this is the last one.
Please, good afternoon. I want to ask what course you studied in SHS, and then is it necessary for you to go in line of the course you studied? Because, for example, it is believed that if you do science, maybe you want to become a doctor. If you do general arts, you want to become a journalist. So I want to know if it's always compulsory to do something in line of what you are studying in SHS.
In Ghana, it is important what you are doing at SHS. You cannot do vocational skills and then go do French, history, government, some nebulous program, and you say, I want to be a doctor. It can never happen. You have to, are you doing it here? You have. You see, even those with very good grades, they couldn't get into medicine here. You have to do the basics, physics, chemistry, biology, maths. Those are the science subjects that you require. The same thing in engineering, physics, chemistry, maths. But sometimes, I don't know who provide you with career guidance. I think we should begin to do that so that you know the subjects that you have to do medicine. It is amazing how somebody who had done history and government, and then he did, what else? I've even forgotten. Iron. And he did well. And the father told me that I should look for medical school for her because she did so well. I said, oh, I am a VC and I'm advising you. He said, no, my friend says that she can do medicine. You can't even do nursing, I'm telling you. You can't do many things. Maybe journalism. So you must know. It is on the internet. Why don't you go and find out the courses you have to take in order to do a particular program? You just don't sit there, and then when they don't get admission, they cry. And then I did well. A lot of people come to my house and cry, and I look at them. I said, they have spoiled their children. He didn't, and then he's here crying that I should go and look for. It's not whom you know. It's not whom you know. It's what you did and how you performed. There was another one. He said, building a foundation for girls. I think that is a good idea. I have a girl at Tech, Portia, and she's doing so well. He's encouraging the girls to be independent, and I go and talk to the girls all the time. See, now you have Facebook, so you can begin to create friends, and then you invite them little by little. Sometimes it requires funding, and you need to apply for funding. And then if you get it, that's fine. So get your friends together and share. If you what you have learned today, share it with a friend. And then your friend will also share with a friend, and then you create a foundation. Switching career choices. I wanted to be an engineer when I was in Oda Secondary School. So I offered to do physics, chemistry, art, maths, and biology. And I was the only girl doing art, maths. And because they beat me, I stopped. I said I was afraid because I was the only girl. But you see how I ended up. I want to do biology. Then I changed. I said I wanted to be a nurse. So I went and read. I saw how neat nurses were, how well dressed they were. I didn't know that. It's a lot of work. Hey, please, don't change your profession. I also saw that you have to be committed and sacrifice. So some people go in, like what I was thinking, to dress nicely, my shoes, and wear my cap, very neat. Hey, but I didn't know that I have to carry people's feces, and when they vomit, I have to carry all of them. Hey, it's a lot of work. So I changed my mind. So, and I wanted to do medicine. But those days, my grades will not make me enter into medical school. And my friends want to do medicine, and I had to do biological sciences. And I was told that if I do biology too, I can become a doctor. But it's not true. Those days, it wasn't true. So I did that, and I said, what is closest to health? And microbiology. So I did microbiology, and I'm glad I did microbiology. It has helped me so much that I am so important. Microbiology. Is that all?
Say something. Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this session. Professor Owa is in the sciences, but some of you here may not be science students. It doesn't mean that you should switch from where you are to go and do science. If you're already doing science, yes, you can pursue some of the careers she's talking about, but you can still be excellent whether you are in literature or history or geography, wherever you are. So the most important thing is study hard and pursue excellence. If you looked at my background, I started off, in fact, I wanted to do law because I was always reading. And then I went to Tema General Hospital one day and I met a lady in white. And I liked her so much. She was so beautiful. And I asked, who is she? They said she's a dietitian. So I said, oh, I like that. I want to be a dietitian. So you see, many of us change along the way, but it gets to a point where you really have to be focused. So I asked, how do I become a dietitian? And then they said, oh, there's a course in Legon, home economics. If you go and do that course, you can become a dietitian. So that's how come I went to do home economics in Legon. And then I found out that they didn't do a course in dietetics in Legon. And I had to go abroad to go and do it. But my mother hasn't even sat in an airplane before. And my father had died long ago. How could she take me abroad to go and do this course in dietetics? So I finished home science. I didn't like it at all. They did something called research methods, and we had to go to Anumle and Christian Village to go and do all kinds of things. I hated research, but today I'm in research. So, but when I finished my course at Legon, I did my national service at the University of Ghana Medical School Community Health Department. And that was where I developed the interest in research and in health. So sometimes you start on a particular line and you come across certain circumstances that change your whole orientation altogether. So yes, have a plan, but be focused, because you may start wanting to be a lawyer and then you end up being a researcher. Thank you.
I think we can now give a standing ovation to Professor Sewa as she resumes her seat. Let's give her a round of applause as we give her a standing ovation. Choir, can you give us a rendition whilst we get ready for another part of the program? Okay, if you're not ready, you can hold on to that. We would now have presentation. So, Prof, we'll have to invite you up again. I will have Professor Margaret Gyapong to do that for us, to do a presentation to Professor S.C. Ewa. Well, let's appreciate them as they come together. Let's appreciate them as they come.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can all attest to the fact that Professor Esi Ewa has delivered a wonderful lecture this afternoon. And I believe that many of our young ones here have been encouraged. We learned how she started from humble beginnings and where she has reached today. We want to thank her very much. And we have this little, what should I call it, citation plaque or something, to give to Prof. Ewa, just to say thank you to her. So University of Health and Allied Sciences honors Prof. A.C. Ewa for delivering the Maiden lecture on the theme, Harnessing the Potential of Today's Girl Child for the Future, at the Maiden Professor Margaret Gyapong Annual Mentorship Program for Female Students and Academics, presented July 25th, 2022.
Oh, thank you so much.
We have something else for her. BC talked about the fact that she composed the UHAS anthem. We are celebrating our 10th anniversary, and some of our colleagues are wearing the university cloth, and we think we want to give her a piece of the anniversary cloth and a t-shirt so that you can remember UHAS wherever you are. Thank you.
Please let me say thank you to UHAS, my twin brother. God bless you. I'm very grateful.
And so continue. There have been a figure they have been mentioning all along, 20,000 something. I have even forgotten the figure. In euros, 20,000 euros. That is what my people will call ameplega. That is money enough to buy a human being. That's how my people will call it. And so it is now time to launch the Doa Gertrude Quay Scholarship. And to do that for her, there's a history to all of this. And of course, there's a way to administer the money. And to tell us all about that and give us an overview of why and perhaps what that fund, the Doa Gertrude Quay Scholarship Fund, would be doing. Help me with a bigger round of applause to welcome Professor Margaret Gyapong, who is a sole donor for this fund, to give us an overview.
Thank you very much. A lot of people have asked me why this fund was named after my mother. And when I talk about my mother, I get quite emotional. Somebody I grew up to know who was selfless, somebody who didn't have much, but gave up so much of herself to make others happy. My mother got married quite early. She's the second born of 6 children. She happened to go to Krobo Girls Training College. She was a teacher. And then after school, she couldn't continue to do further studies because she had the responsibility of taking care of her younger siblings. So she had to go and start work. And while she was working, she met my father, and they got married, and I was born. My 2 younger sisters after me. Growing up, life was good because my father worked as a managing director in those days, Grand Tobacco. It was British American Tobacco. Life was great. I did ballet. My ballet clothes were brought in on British Airways from the UK. I went to a Swiss boarding school in Accra. It was wonderful. At age 9, my father dies. We moved out of our house in Tema, Kaiser Flats, the place where parks and gardens used to come and manicure the lawns and do beautiful things. And we moved to a single house, a single room in Community 8 in Tema at that time. So my mother, my 2 siblings, and I lived in this one room house. And that is where I grew up. Life was not easy. My mom decided not to remarry, but to focus her attention on her children. She sold everything under the sun. The money as a teacher was not enough. We would make bread rolls and sell. We would make cookies and sell. I learned how to crochet tablecloths and table mats to sell, to be able to supplement the income at home. In primary school, sometimes you have breakfast at home, you go to school with no pocket money. It wasn't there. And you came home, and whatever was available is what you had to eat. And I learned how to eat and love simple things. One of my house helps laughed at me because I liked Banchian Pesie and Miadoa Froe. Do you know what that is? And those days, my mother would go to Community 1 market. There's the Kwasia Draso, and there you can collect a lot from the floor, the garden eggs, and she'll bring it home. And we used to have it on Fridays, and it was called Foolish, because you just put all anything in it and you would eat. Life was tough. Going to university, those days you had a little bursary and you went to school, but my clothes were limited. So I had my shoes for church, for classes, my slippers to walk around with. I didn't have much. But this woman did everything she had or she could do to take care of my sisters and I. And she said she can invest a lot in me so that I can take care of my younger siblings. But she said one thing that stuck with me, and which I've told my 3 daughters. She said, no matter who you get married to, don't quit the job that you have. Continue in it. While she was married, my father felt that being a teacher, she didn't bring enough home, and so she should quit and he could take care of her. If she had quit her job when he died, she wouldn't have been able to take care of us. She said, I don't care whether you marry the president of Ghana. Pursue a career and stick onto it and make a living for yourself. She died 1 year after I got married. She never saw any of her grandchildren. The only thing she wanted, she said, when you start working, I want a blender. Today I have more than 1 blender in my house, and my mother is gone. Sometimes she had to sell her cloth so that she could pay our fees. Today I have 2 or 3 more cloths in my wardrobe, and my mother is gone. But she taught me one thing, giving. No matter how small she had, she gave. She shared, she just gave to people. And she said her reward is in heaven. Now my sisters and I have always wanted to set up something in her memory because of the impact she made in our lives. And we didn't have that much money to put together. So when the award was announced and it came with a 20,000 euro prize, the first thing I thought of was to set up a fund in memory of my mother so that we can remember her name, we can remember her every time. People ask me, why did you put the whole lot in? And I said, if I kept some for myself, I may have bought another pair of shoes. But do I need it? There's somebody sitting here whose parents are struggling to look after them. It doesn't mean you should let yourself go. Prof. said she told the boys off. It doesn't mean you should let yourself go. If it's only 2 or 3 clothes that you have and you can wear them, wash them nicely, iron them nicely, and wear them. If somebody had told me many years ago that I'll be standing here giving away 20,000 euro, I would have told the person they are lying. But thus far has the Lord brought me. He has never given up on me, and I know God will never give up on you. So this is named in honor of my mother because of the sacrifices that she made for my siblings and I, and for the lessons that she taught us. She taught us hard work. Life was tough. She'll go to Temahabo, she'll buy fish, she'll sell, she'll go to TTL, she'll go and buy cloth, she'll sell, just so that she can put food on the table for us. So that is why this fund is set up. And we have sent out an invitation for people to apply for the fund. Please be honest with your submissions, and that's what we've told everybody. Sometimes people say they need help, but they know they don't need the help. You know if you really, really need help. The deadline is 31st of July. It's for UHAS students. Those of you who are coming into UHAS, who are struggling, you have an opportunity when you come in to be able to apply. We are hoping that with this fund, we'll be able to pay people's school fees, their hostel fees, and maybe provide them a little pocket money. But you must maintain a certain grade point average. So it doesn't come to people who don't want to study. You may not have, but you should be brilliant and focused. And these are the kinds of people this is for. So on behalf of my siblings, my family, my husband, my children, we make this donation to UHAS so that somebody out there who is struggling will be able to have some support to take care of your education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. We now invite the chairman and the vice chancellor of this university to officially launch the Dora Gertrude Quay Scholarship.
So, having heard everything, it is now my singular honor and pleasure to launch the Dora Gertrude Quay Memorial Fund for brilliant students of the University of Health and Allied Sciences. Thank you.
Name
Thank you. I'm supposed to give some closing remarks. So, as you could hear Professor Iwa talk about her humble beginnings and how great things emerge from humble beginnings. You heard Professor Margaret Gyapong also tell you about humble beginnings and how great things emerge from humble beginnings. I think it is very clear that even though your beginnings may be humble, as the scriptures say, so prosperous with your future. I've come to love this portion of scripture from Job 8:7 so much so that I keep referring to it. But I think for many of the young girls or ladies around, what I gathered from Professor Uwa's talk basically suggests that we all have capacity. There is something within us that God has placed that helps us to be able to achieve the goals that we set. And we should not just sit there and wait, because we can do something from wherever we are. So wherever you are, start and use what is in your hands. God has placed in your hands what He has blessed you with. Do what you can wherever you find yourself, because everything is possible if you put your heart to it. We find ourselves at different stages in this whole business. I believe you can find yourself somewhere, and I want to ask you where you are today. There are some who don't want to do anything. There are some who say, well, I can do it, but they don't do it. There are some who say, I want to do it. Wanting to do it is fine, but that is not enough. Then they go ahead and ask themselves, oh, so yes, I want to do it. How can I do it? I believe that is a good enough step, but that is not enough. How do I do it? You must begin to try to do it. And you should come to a point where you realize that this is not rocket science and that you can do it. And that is why I went through the trouble of trying to show you that these are ladies who went to secondary schools like you are now. They are no different from you. Some of you might even be more privileged than they are. And you must come to the point where you say, yes, I will do it. And beyond that, make the effort so that the next time we meet here, we'll be able to say, yes, I did it. I realize that today's lecture paid a lot more attention to the girl child, as the theme said, harnessing the potential of today's girl child for the future. But as you are aware, this mentorship series is supposed to also address female academics. So it is my hope that maybe in the next session, which hopefully will be in next July or sometime next year, some attention would also be paid to the female academics amongst us and how they can also progress, so that people will share their experience that we can relate to, so that, as Grace Pelly said, she comes here as a lecturer and she envisions that in the next 10 to 15 years, she could be the vice chancellor of this university. And then the question is, how do I do it? What are the processes? What does it take? What kind of mentorship and guidance will she need to be able to get to that point? I believe if we're able to do that, we would have achieved a lot. I remember when in April, I think on the 7th of April or so, we had a congregation, and the guest speaker, Dr. Gyapong, heard that Professor Gyapong had donated 20,000 euro. He was sitting next to us, and he got up and said, if this poor professor can donate 20,000 euro, then I will also donate $100,000. And I can confirm that I have received that check. So it's a cascading effect. So I received the check, and I told the registrar, she saw the check, and we sent it to the Director of Finance, and it is in our bank account. So I can assure you that the check has cleared. It wasn't a fake check. Sometimes people make promises and then they are not able to fulfill. It was not a fake check. The check has cleared. So because of this seed of 20,000 euro, we have received another $100,000 to support research activities in the university. So you can do it. I can do it. And there was a young lady who asked a question about if you don't have anything, and the registrar said that you can, whatever is in your hand, you can make use of it. So the registrar had the scissors in her hands, and she started cutting people's hair for them, and was collecting sardine tinapa. Yeah. You know, there is nothing like applying yourself to do hard work. If some of us tell you our stories of how we have come this far, you have no clue. When I was in sixth form, and I mean sixth form, meat pie. I did meat pie business. I was baking and selling meat pie all around Tema. You won't believe it. The student is looking at my face. He doesn't believe it. Yes. When I was in Form 3, between Form 3 and Form 5, I was selling things on my head, in Tema. Nothing I know ye BA. And they call you and then they buy. Those days, when you go to the bakery to take the bread, they give you 2 cedis bread and your commission was 30 pesos. Very well. So they give you 2 cedis, 30 pesos worth of bread. You go and sell, and then you bring 2 cedis to the bakery. As I stand here, is bread stuck on my face? There's no bread stuck on my face. I carried bread and sold almost everything in Tema, but you have no clue. So make the best opportunity of what you find yourself doing, and don't think that anything is too demeaning for you, provided you are not stealing, provided you are not committing any crime. Put your hands to work, and the good Lord will bless you. So I would just want to end again by that we do these things to acknowledge, to recognize honor people who do good things, and we celebrate them. And through this, we hope that we can maintain and protect a legacy, even as we inculcate the leadership skills in you. So you can do it. If some of us have been able to go this pathway, I can assure you that there is nothing impossible. If you apply your hands to the job, if you push, and with the grace of God on your side, success will definitely be yours. I thank you for your attention.
We are gradually coming to the end of the program once the chairman has given his remarks. But Dr. Joyce Dare, on behalf of the committee that put this together, will come and say thank you to all of us. Let's welcome with a round of applause.
Thank you. We want to thank God Almighty for being with us from the beginning of this program and for bringing it to a successful end. We thank our Vice Chancellor who has chaired this ceremony. He's gone into the archives and brought us lovely memories of Prof. Gyapong and Prof. Esiewa that we didn't know, but they have created an impression on us. Thank you so much. We thank our guest speaker, Prof. Esiewa, for being present with us today. You've given us such an inspiring talk, and we've all learned something. At least if we've learned nothing at all, we've learned that we should be planning. At every time, you should plan. Thank you so much for coming. We are very grateful. We thank Prof. Margaret Gyapong. It's her generosity that has brought all of us here today. If she didn't give her money, we won't be sitting here. Prof, we say thank you so much. May God replenish 1,000-fold so that you continue to give and to give more. We thank all the principal officers of the university, thank the registrar, the incoming registrar, the deans and directors who are here with us. We say thank you so much for coming to grace this occasion with your presence. To our young ladies from the second cycle institutions, we are very grateful to have you here. I know you've all learned something. At least you've been inspired to aim higher, that you can always achieve your dreams. To our university community, to our teaching and non-teaching staff, our students, everybody who has taken time to be here, we say we are very grateful. To our media men, thank you. To the planning committee, all those who work behind the scenes to ensure that today's program has been successful, we say God bless you. And next year, we hope to meet again for another session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And so said Chinua Achebe, he who pays respect to the great paves way for his own greatness. And on that note, we want to sing the university anthem in honor of Professor Esiewa, who is the composer of the anthem. I crave your indulgence, let us all be standing as the university choir leads us. Control, can we have the words on the screen? If you have them. If we can join in the singing.
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Thank you. So among all the things Professor Awad mentioned she has done, perhaps there's one thing she didn't mention. She was a prophet. And today, our tagline for our 10th anniversary is that we are great giant rising. And that is boldly written in those words for the anthem. So thank you once again. We want to take these few announcements before we end it all. Senior members here will be refreshed at the seminar room, on my left, right, the conference room, up the city auditorium. All UHA students would go to the basement. All the senior high school students who are here, your package is in your buses. Oh, it's a big one. In fact, today, if the dining hall food is not good, you can abandon it. Ola, if you are not a baba, you go and abandon dining hall food. You don't have sardine. And students from, you have students from the Binka School of Public Health. We also have a special package for you in your bus. So you are not joining the rest of students at the basement. Oh, you are there. Can we see you? SPH. Oh, nice. Thank you. And so, where we pass to climb is the same place we'll descend. We'll start with a prayer, we will end with a prayer. And help me welcome Ms. Thelma Alalbila to give us a closing prayer.
Thank you. Please, shall we be upstanding? We are praying. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you very much for today. We want to thank you for giving us such a beautiful day. We want to thank you for the lives of our guest speaker. We want to thank you for the lives of the senior management, the vice chancellor, the registrar, and all the deans and directors. It's our prayer that the seed of success would be sown, especially in the hearts of the girls from the second cycle institutions, so that they can strive to get to this point and even beyond. We pray for the life of Professor Margaret Gyapong, for her kind soul, for starting this award scheme. We also want to pray that as she has started and opened the portal for other kind donors, astute academics, corporate world would also come to the aid of this scheme, because it's a beautiful thing and it's going to bring forth, I believe, successful women. We want to pray that female academics will also get mentorship from our astute female academics who have risen through the ranks. It's our prayer that the seed of success also will be sown in them, for them to aspire to be like Professor Gyapong, Professor Esiewa, and the others not mentioned. We ask this through Christ.